Welcome back to the Roselyn Omaka Show, and I am with a special guest, Margaret Phipps, and I really would love to hear more about some of the things that you learned about refugees in the project that you were recently working on. Can you tell me more?
Yeah, so I worked with Sarah and Lisa Alavi on the What Do We Know About Refugees project in conjunction with Amana Services in Houston. And I got involved with the project because I had known Sarah and Lisa for a really long time, and I knew that they were really big humanitarians and were very open about that. And I grew up doing some charity work, but in my teens and young adulthood, I have not done that as much. And I felt like a draw to it at the time. And we were kind of in the middle of COVID, and I just felt like there was something missing. And when they approached me with this project, I was like, perfect, that's exactly the thing that I want to get involved in right now. And when I did the project, I was really just kind of there to, help set up, work with the videographers, set up the refugees that we talked to, and
for production, behind the scenes?
Kind of behind the scenes stuff. And so I got to sit and listen to the refugees talk firsthand about their stories and the things that they'd been through. And it was really, really eye-opening. And I feel like there's not a lot of people my age that I feel like are super involved in charity work, at least not the people that I see or that I'm around, which is fine. And, people can do what they want to do. But I have a draw to it, and it's something that I've been wanting to get more involved in as I've grown up and as I've realized that there's so much misinformation and there's so much education that can be had to the people that are my age or new voters or things like that. And so I really wanted to get involved in the project and not only get to witness the stories of these refugees, but also to be able to educate myself a little bit further on the issues at hand. So
I think that's really beautiful. And I think it's interesting, too, that you're telling me you did this around the time of COVID, because that's when I made a change for stuff. And then so you made a change within yourself because there has to be more that I can do. Yeah. So you took action, and I love that. So before you started helping Sarah and Lisa with this project, what were your impressions and thoughts before? And then once everybody started getting to work and you're meeting all these people, you're hearing stories, and I know outside of just listening to people and them telling you stories, I know you also have peripheral vision, or you listen to all the conversations going around. What did you learn?
I learned a lot. It's hard to kind of encompass all of it into one thing, but I grew up working with the National Charity League when I was really, really young. It's something that a lot of people in my school had been involved in, and so I did it with a lot of girls from my school, and we would work with the SPCA, we'd work with UNICEF, we'd work with all of those different agencies and charities, and it didn't continue after 8th grade, and so once it stopped continuing, I just stopped, and there was like nothing further, and I forgot about it, and I moved schools, and I went about my life and totally forgot about it, and when I realized that I had enjoyed that so much and that part of my life was missing. When I went to work on the refugee project, it kind of regained that spark that I had when I was younger. And listening to the refugees talk, the main things that I really learned from them was I think when you grow up, you really don't talk about that kind of stuff. That's not something we're being educated on. That's not something we're learning in school. It's something that you watch on the news, and there's a lot of different news outlets, and so you don't really know 100% what's happening. And being able to listen to people from all over the world, from many different countries, different ages, different genders, different, walks of life, getting them to tell me the different things that they'd been through, I learned the full story. And it was really eye-opening. And it was something that really kind of hit me at my core, and something that I don't think I had the space yet in my world to be able to listen to until that moment. And
that's important, what you just said.
Yeah.
Space in your world? What do you mean by that?
I think when you're in your early teens, in your early 20s, are focused on school and you're focused on starting a career and you're focused on, it's a lot of inward focus. And I think I was in that space, but I felt off from it. And so when I sat in front of these men and women and these young adults and I got to hear them speak, it completely took me out of self. And it took me out of what my world in my little bubble was. And it opened my eyes up to what their world was.
I kid you not, I just got chills. Like I literally just got chills because that's so powerful what you just said.
Powerful. It was a lot to process, and it was really special because you got to sit in the room with these people who maybe they didn't know English super well, or they didn't want their faces to be seen, or they were still kind of scared in their own in their own world, to be able to talk about what they've been through and to be able to be allowed into their space for that moment was really, really special. And it's not something that I've gotten to experience. And I think it just like exploded my education immediately. And it brought me into a space of getting to learn from a first world perspective. And that's something that I feel like is kind of rare, but it's completely accessible also if you're open to it.
I think that is powerful. I think that is amazing. And I'm even thinking about the demographic and young people that are watching and listening now when they're so concerned about, grades. And I don't even know if some kids truly are thinking about their careers right now, but when they're thinking about self and what you just said, and it makes you not think like it's about people, other people outside of this selfish society that we live in. And I think that's great. Do you have any advice to other young people that are doing these programs, or even kids that are in high school, or they're looking for a way to be a part of something outside of self? Because you were that was a gym, that was big.
Yeah, I think the thing that I got was I had word of mouth, and I learned of these things through word of mouth, through friends, through my inner circle. And I know everybody says, get involved, but you never really know where to start. And I think what at least I got was word of mouth. I got to learn through Sarah and Lisa what was available to be able to look at and to be able to volunteer at and to open my world to. And I know you can go on a Google search and you'll just dive straight down and
you'll get lost.
And so I think obviously get involved, but also ask around what people are involved in. If you're involved in a certain program at school, ask the people in your program, hey, is there something else that I can be looking into? Like colleges and high schools have a lot of clubs, and, look at your clubs, see if there's any volunteer work happening at your clubs.
Don't be scared. Do it.
Ask. I'm very shy, so it was nice to be able to have my inner circle have that access. But I think also if I hadn't at the time, I would have still tried to ask around. And I think that that's the easiest way, because then you can kind of suss out what are things that are really important at the time. And I think at the time, with what was going on in the world, getting involved in something with refugees was really important to me. And that was something that I wanted to educate myself on and I wanted to learn more about, because, you can work for certain charities like NCL and, provide things for a charity. But I think being able to educate yourself is just as important. And so that's what I wanted to do.
Do you have anybody that you talk to still from the refugee thing? Do you have anybody that you stay, like, y'all message a little bit?
I don't think I have any of that contact information, but I talk.
Because they're nervous?
I think they're nervous. I'm not 100% sure. That would be more of like a.
Oh, no, it's okay. And we can edit this too. But I was just curious if you had any friends.
I don't. I have two friends that I actually met. Actually, I have two friends that I met on a trip to Cambodia that I randomly took in February.
Sounds beautiful.
I went there by myself. I met a bunch of strangers, and two of the girls, one was from Russia and one was from Ukraine. And I went around the time of when the war started. And so all the Americans were like, oh, gosh.
That's actually
going to be something that we're going to be nervous about. And they told us everything that we needed to know. And it was amazing getting to talk to people from two different sides of things.
Yeah. And I'm even thinking
they also became friends. And it's beyond what's being talked about in the news.
This is like out of all the people that you
out of all the people I could have met, I randomly went across the world to Asia and met girls from Russia and Ukraine.
The three of you.
Yeah.
Apparently, we all are supposed to hate each other.
Yeah. And actually, we all became friends, and you can look past the things that are happening if you just are open to accepting those people into your space. And it was beautiful. It was wonderful.
Do you have any advice for young people? Because I know you did say seek. Well, I guess maybe I'll think of an example, because there are some shy people I know, and so when it comes down to just finding out who to talk to or what groups to reach out to, or if you don't have anybody in your friend circle and maybe a YouTuber inspired you or this podcast inspired you, if there is someone that you admire that lives locally in your area, I can almost promise you, unless they have a crazy following, and if they miss it, they will come back to you later. But I will definitely say, if you say your intentions and you go into someone's DMs and you tell why you would like to be a part, you may be very happy with the outcome, and you may get exactly what you want. And I love the fact that you put yourself out there, even though you told me that you're shy, and this is way bigger than you. It's way bigger than me. It's way bigger than all of us. And so, thank you. Like, seriously, thank you. This is beautiful. There is one other thing that I will say, is that I am now more curious about these high school programs, because you said it stopped at the 8th grade. And when it comes down to these humanitarian issues, why is it stopping like at the 8th grade? Because this is the time where it's like, this
is the most developmental time in your life. And so for things to stop or trickle off in such an extreme way, when you're doing it because you want it for your college resume, or you're doing it because your parents told you to, do it because you want to. Do it because you know that you're going to be able to further educate yourself, and that you're going to be able to open your world up to an entirely new group of people, and that it's okay to be uneducated. It's okay to not have the knowledge that maybe you could have in your 30s and 40s and 50s. You can access that now. You just have to be open to it, and you have to look for it and take yourself outside of your own little world and just explore.
There's never a stupid question. In my opinion, you are foolish if you never ask at all.
Yeah.
Where can we watch this amazing documentary?
You can watch it on Sarah Olivi's YouTube. It's called What Do We Know About Refugees? And it's free. It's completely free to watch.
Support.
Please support.
Watch all the ads.
Watch all the ads, because that goes back to Amana. So educate yourself. Like, learn, take the time, sit down, get a bowl of popcorn, and get ready to open up your world. It's a really amazing documentary.
I will say one other thing too. Watching the documentary, what she just said, to piggyback off of it, open up your world, open up your minds, and open up your hearts. Make sure that you're watching this. Just be open. Take politics out of the equation and focus on people. This is what all of this is about, people. So I'm going to remind you, and I'll be paying attention to those comments. I'll talk to you guys later.